Halloween. Should Christians participate in Halloween or should we avoid it? Is it some kind of entrance into the dark world, or is it something that Christians can participate in without causing stumbling for their children or themselves? That's a great question and probably something we can talk about today. When our church first began, back in 1981, we encountered our first season of quote-unquote Halloween. And for me as a pastor, I didn't want my children and I didn't want to introduce our church to a celebration that I considered to be improper. I'll be honest with you, it isn't something that I as a Christian had my children participate in, and for all the reasons that most people would have concerning that. But I also knew that the nation that I live in, well, on October 31st, there's going to be children all over neighborhoods, and they're going to be dressed up in a variety of costumes. They're going to be getting candy. And so for me, it was difficult because my children were small at that time, and I didn't want to cause them to feel any more odd than they ultimately were going to feel because they were believers and didn't participate in so many different things. And so what we gave them was an alternative. And our alternative that we introduced our children to, and we've continued for all these years in our church's history, was what we would call a hallelujah party or something like that, where we gave the kids opportunities to come to the church. And we provided the candies and recreation, games and things for them. And we told them, we don't want you dressing up in weird costumes, satanic things or whatever. We don't want devils and all of that, you know. So the kids came and they were dressed up in Bible characters or something that was innocent in that way, and we gave them an alternative. So instead of having them go through the streets, you know, knocking on strangers' doors and all the things that were typical of Halloween at that time and still is, we brought them to the fellowship here. We brought them to the church, and we gave them something to do so that they had, you know, they got the candy and they went on home and they had fun. They were with their friends and all of that. I know that there is a real reality of celebrating evil. I don't believe that every Christian that takes their kid out door to door and dresses them like a little angel or whatever is leading them to hell and all. And I don't condemn people for doing that. I don't make judgment on them. I just think for myself and for the way I raised my children, it was better to not mix up certain things. I didn't want to mix their minds up in that. And so we gave them an option. We gave them an alternative. They didn't hit the streets. We never took them out trick-or-treating or anything like that because I didn't want to give to them any impression that this is kind of an acceptable way to act or to believe. Again, I'm real careful about that because in many ways, it's an innocent thing. It's just celebrating with the other kids by getting candy. They're not even thinking about the darker reality of what it has become or has been for a while. They just don't think that way. They just want the candy. They want to dress up. And because of that, I gave our church the opportunity to bring their kids. And then what we did is we developed something as neighborhood outreach. We opened it up and called it a Hallelujah Party. And thousands of people would come onto our church grounds, and we would have worship. We would have Bible preaching, and we would give the kids candy and Bible tracts in the little bags that they had their goodies in, and we made it a community outreach. And over the years, we have had multiple thousands of people who have come in. They've heard the gospel, they've received Bible tracts, and we can't tell the world how to dress. We can't tell them what costumes to wear, but we would tell our church, you know, make sure your kids aren't wearing spooky costumes or whatever. And we taught our church over the years that this is an alternative. And it's been a very blessed thing to do. So we've never been accused of celebrating a satanic holiday. What we did is we took something that was meant for evil and we tried to help it to become not that thing itself, but we gave the kids an opportunity to see that we could do something together as church family and enjoy ourselves and worship the Lord and hear gospel messages and be in a safe environment. And we attracted many people who would come that we could put Bible tracts in, or they would hear a gospel message. And so that's how we've handled it. And so I think that if you stand up and start preaching about how evil Halloween is, you might as well begin to preach about how evil every other thing that we have here in the United States is. I mean, that'll just take you every week. You can do that because they do this. You know, Christmas this and Easter that and Halloween this, and we're constantly known for what we're against. Sometimes they need to know what we're for, don't you think? And so for us, we want them to know we're for a community. We're for children enjoying themselves in a safe environment. We're for preaching the gospel and handing out Bible tracts and caring for some children that will never step foot in a church if they're not invited in this fashion. So that's how we've handled it over this time now. Every person has a right to their own opinion, and that's how we've handled it. And we've seen the Lord move over the years, and prayerfully He'll continue doing so. So there's my answer to the question.